What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is the UnBarren girl, and I am LaFrey. And I'm happy to be with you today. I gotta say, it's been a while, but we won't talk about the past. But the Lord has really been dealing with me about surrender. And I feel like, stop cursing at me, okay? It's a curse word. If we really understood what it meant to surrender, to take up our cross and follow Jesus, I don't think that we would be talking about it the way that we do. I was actually having a conversation with someone about the UnBarren girl, and they were just encouraging me. And he was mentioning, this ministry that I have started. And I was like, whoa, don't get crazy now. Don't get crazy. This is not a ministry. Me and my friends are just talking. He was like, well, the moment that you can separate yourself from God, separate yourself from talking about God or telling people about God, the minute that we can mention you and not mention Christ, then we can talk about this not being a ministry. And I said, okay, well, you got a point. So that just led me to ask just more details about what it is that I'm really doing here. And I just wanted to just get more direction. And, I had so many questions after that, so many thoughts after that. And in that same conversation, he asked me if there was ever a time where I wanted to give up or stop believing in what I felt the Lord had promised me. And common sense would say yes, but it wasn't necessarily that I stopped believing. It was more so I got to the point where I was like, you know what, God, do what you want to do. Go on ahead and do whatever it is you want to do, big dog, because I'm tired. I felt like I literally can't care anymore. I can't even carry the weight of wanting it to happen. God, do whatever it is that you want. You big God. So I'm gonna need you to do your big one with this one, because I wash my hands of this. Call me Pilate. I'm done. Take me out the group chat because it's too much for me. And when it comes to having a baby, I have legitimately done all that I could do. There's only so much, in my weight class, within my flexibility range. There's only so much that I could do when it comes to trying to make a baby, and I've done that. So it's your turn. I don't care no more. And that was really a time in my life where I felt that way about everything. Do what you want to do about me having a baby. Do what you want to do about this career and this business, these hair products. Do what you want to do about this man. Okay? You can have him back too. And it was really in that moment of surrender that I saw God move quicker than I've ever seen him move. And I feel like there comes a point in every believer's life when they are confronted by God. Like, are you want to do this, or should I? You want to make it happen, or do you want to watch me move on your behalf? It reminds me of working with some of the students that I work with. They come to us for advising. You come to me for advice. And then they want to tell us how much we're wrong about how they saw their brother and their cousin and their friend and somebody on the internet. Well, this happened for them. Do you work here or do I? You let me worry about how things work in here, and you worry about your grades. Come to class. And I really felt like that's how God was getting with me. You could do this on your own. You could think yourself into depression, or you can let me do what I do. It really demanded a decision for me to take my hands off of it. Jesus says, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. And I think we quote it very nicely. Following Jesus is not a weekend retreat at the resort. Okay, like some of us want it to be, like I want it to be. It is an invitation to die daily. It is the end of ownership. It's the end of your personal agenda. The word deny in this context means to utterly disown. It means to refuse association with. It is self-abandonment. And that's hard. That's hard because number one is daily, right? And so myself, I be feeling like I've given up a lot already. I did that already. I died a week ago. I died a month ago. I died 2 years ago. You know? But it's something that we have to do continuously. And there are times when I just don't feel like doing that. And I think we sometimes get to the point where we like to give our yes to God in sections. I'll say yes in my finances. I'm a giver. I'm a tither. But this attitude to this man, I'm not giving a yes to that. In our modern culture, we make surrender. And that's why I can't listen to some of the people I used to listen to, because we make surrender sound so poetic. It sounds so nice and so gentle, you know. It sounds so comfortable. Surrender. In reality, it's a death sentence. It's slow and brutal. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. And I know in the New Testament, like Jesus talked a lot in parables. You know, it was sometimes what he said had to be decoded, right? In order for you to understand it. It was mysterious, you know? But this wasn't a parable. Jesus was not speaking in metaphors to people who didn't understand. In that culture, to take up your cross was the image of a man that was condemned, publicly shamed, stripped of every right, and walking towards his execution. And that is what he has charged us to do daily. Willingly. In Acts chapter 5, Ananias and Sapphira, they wanted the appearance of surrender, right? They wanted it to look like they had given their all without paying the cost. They sold property. They brought some of the proceeds. They laid it at the apostles' feet, and they pretended like this is a full thing. This is all of it. And Peter says, "You've lied to men, but you can't lie to God." And within moments, they were dead. They dropped dead. This was not about real estate. This was about retaining ownership in the heart, but saying, "I surrender," with your lips. This is about wanting the glory of sacrifice without the reality of the cross. The Hebrew understanding of deceit isn't about just saying false words. It's about living a false reality and projecting an image that contradicts what's in your heart. And here's a sobering truth. If you don't lay it down, whatever it is for you, willingly, it will lay you out painfully. There is a consequence for refusing to, if you say you follow Jesus, if you say that you're a disciple of Christ, a follower of Christ, there is a consequence for not following him for real. Jonah surrendered in the belly of a fish. Nebuchadnezzar surrendered after eating grass like an ox. Saul surrendered after being blind for 3 days when God met him on the road to Damascus. Lay it down or it will lay you out. You know? And again, it's daily. I got to keep reminding myself of that because I be wanting it to be one and done. But this ain't that, unfortunately. One thing that I am learning is that surrender is not empty. You give up something that you cannot keep in order to receive something that you can never lose. The cost of surrendering is great. Sometimes the act of surrender is accompanied by suffering. But the suffering of this present time, the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that will be revealed in us. So that tells me this thing that is so big that sometimes I hold on to it with iron fists. It's so important. It's so overwhelmingly great that I don't want to give it up. And sometimes in the process of that, I go through suffering, but that is not even worthy to be mentioned in conversation with the glory. Just think about Job. 10 kids, gone. All his money, gone. His wife may as well have been gone. Okay? Boils all over his body. And him making the decision to not find any fault with God. He had questions. God had answers. He had questions. But for him not to curse God, the glory that came after that, the restoration that came after that, just because he was willing to take his hands off of it, just because he was willing to endure, that didn't mean that he didn't ask questions. That didn't mean that he didn't acknowledge his pain or his sorrow or his confusion even. He acknowledged it, but he endured. You can make a choice to lay down your frustration, to lay down your ambition, to lay down your grudge, to lay down the things that you got the right to hold on to. You know what I'm saying? You can lay down those things before the Lord now, or you can watch the weight of those things crush you later. Honestly, the choice is yours. The instructions are very clear. But the cross is still going to be waiting. The cross is still waiting for you to go on ahead and pick it up. You know, Jesus, he doesn't bargain with us. He doesn't negotiate with us. He's not going to shift or soften the conditions of the terms that he's given us. If you want to follow him, you have to pick up your cross. You have to deny yourself and follow him. You have to die. Today. If the Lord walked up to you today, looked you in the eyes and said, there's one thing you still lack, what would it be? And would you lay that thing down? Would you make the move in the direction to be whole? And let me remind you that we live in a kingdom where the king owns everything anyway. If if he's asking you to surrender something, to change the way you think about something, to shift the way that you respond about something, it can only be for your good anyway. It can only be for your good anyway. That's the thing that the Lord has really been driving home to me. Like, will you take your hands off of it? Your knuckles are white. Okay, let it go. Am I God or are you? Well, that's it. Um, like this video, subscribe, send it to a friend, watch it again. You know, all the things. See you next time.